Hello.
Michael, how are you?
Good. How you doing? One sec. Let me just close this door.
Okay,
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Not too bad. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me.
Of course. Oh, I see your poster in the background. I
Yeah,
love that. That's really cool.
season two poster. I got it for free at a Comic-Con convention I was at last fall.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I've never been to the cons. How are they? Are they
they're
fun?
so much fun. I just finished going to a horror convention a couple weeks ago. That was a lot.
Cool.
I volunteered at the event and I hosted 4 panels, so that was a lot to do.
So fun. What is hosting the panels like sort of what do you have to do for that?
Moderator, so it's technically like what I'm doing with you, asking
Okay.
questions for an interview. I did a Ghostbusters panel, B. Neil, the makeup artist, and a Star Wars panel, and
Cool.
so that was a lot of fun. If I know anything, it's Star Wars.
Oh, really? That's your thing?
Yeah,
Cool.
and
I've
so
never like I've never like really like delved into Star Wars. I like recently got on the like Harry Potter train, and I think like the Star Wars is going to be the next one. You know
I'm
what
a
I mean?
very good Harry Potter fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I loved it. I did like the whole like Fantastic Beasts, like I did the whole thing, so it was good. It was good.
uh, that's like one of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah, it's a fun franchise for sure.
I'm a big nerd, so I know what franchises I like.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, you were actually my fourth Superman and Lois interview that I have done.
Oh, wow. Who else have we done?
Adam Rayner, Eric Valdez, and
Cool.
Peter Hasmick, and now you.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I've got to live up to the hype now, right?
Sure, for sure. And I've written to the set over the years. I wrote fan mail letters. I got some responses, so that was pretty.
Cool. That's awesome.
So I got a whole bunch of interviews, going forward, like how you got the part, and talking about season three and going into season four.
Cool. All right. Awesome.
So how did you end up getting cast to take over the role for Jonathan Kent for in season three?
So, originally when they were casting John, I remember getting an audition and going through the whole audition process. This was like season one time. And it didn't fall my way. Um, And when season three came about and they were looking for a new John, I got an email saying they were looking for a new John. And so as the world is right now, we put in like self tapes, so like video audition submissions, and I did that. And then I think it was like a week later, they asked me to fly out to Vancouver and and if I was going to book the part, then they were just going to have me stay in Vancouver and just go straight into shooting. And so I went to Vancouver. There were two other guys. We did chemistry reads with Bitsy, Tyler, and Alex. And then they said, "Hey, you got to find a place because you're going to be staying here for a few months." And then it was like, I think it was like 4 days later or 5 days later or something ridiculous like that. I was like straight onto set to my first filming day. And I was like so terrified because I'd been watching the show. Like I remember when I auditioned for it, I was like, this is gonna be a really cool project. And then when it came out, I was like following it and watching it. And I loved the show. So then I to randomly get a call one day and be like, "Hey, come to Vancouver. You might be on the show," and then getting on it, and then 5 days later, actually just shooting it. It was like this really daunting experience. But I was quickly like inaugurated. I don't know the word. I quickly like settled in. Everyone was so like beautiful and loving and accepting and I really lucked out with the casting crew on this project. Everyone is so welcoming. So yeah.
And I was doing some research for our interview here, and you mentioned that you only had a few days to prepare. Uh,
Yeah.
or before shooting, you have like 5 days to a week or whatever.
Yeah.
How else did you prepare in such a short amount of time?
It was basically going with instincts a lot of the time. Like I think I already knew, like, because I had auditioned for the role prior, I already had a really good sense of like who I thought my John would be. Um and I mean, for preparation it really was just like reading the material, um and just throwing myself into it. Really, it wasn't much preparation, if I'm being honest. It was like kind of like just throwing myself in the deep end and hoping, it lands well, and it seems like it did. So I'm pretty happy with that.
And when you took over the role, what kind of conversations did you have with the crew about how to portray Jonathan after Jordan Elsass played the character in the first 2 seasons?
It was very little conversation. It was for me. I like expressed that I really wanted. I didn't want to have to try and sort of mimic another actor. I wanted it to be my own thing. Um, and so, but keeping in mind, like, Jordan Elsas had already like laid the foundations to this like beautiful John, and so I wanted to keep the heart of that. Um, and I didn't want to turn it, on its head and make it this completely different thing. But I wanted to go to work every day and like still be able to feel like it was mine. And so that meant I didn't watch a lot of, like, once I booked the role, I didn't watch a lot of what Jordan did. But I had this memory and I had this like essence of who his John was, and I tried to like keep the heart of that and then bring a bit of my own thing as well.
For
So
sure.
yeah.
And when I was watching season 3 when it was on the air last year, and I was looking forward to seeing how you bring about the character, and you did a really amazing job taking on the role.
Oh,
It was like
thank
almost
you so much.
little to no difference when I was watching the two of you. Oh,
Ah, thank you. I really appreciate that.
you're welcome. So obviously you must be a DC fan when you audition for the role go during the season 1. So what is it about being a fan of DC that you like so much?
I mean, how can you not be a fan of DC? It's like these we DC, I think has the best villains. Like that, in my opinion, DC has the best
I
villains.
really do.
And yeah, like I love Lex Luthor. I think he's one of the most badass villains of all time. And I also love our Michael Cudlitz, who plays our Lex Luthor. I remember the first day he showed up to set, and he was sitting in the green room, and I like hadn't really had a conversation with him yet, but like just the essence he had, like the I don't know, the darkness it brought to the green room. I was like, oh wow, you can really feel he's gonna play a good Lex Luthor. He's also a very lovely, lovely gentleman, and we got to know each other over the season. But I just remember that first day being like, oh yeah, this is gonna be something special. Um, yeah, I don't know. I was a Superman fan as a kid. I think I was 4 years old, Halloween, dressed up as Superman. There's a photo of that on my Instagram somewhere. Um, Batman. My brother was always obsessed with Batman. So we grew up on those shows and films and stuff. So yeah, I mean it's pretty cool to be part of that franchise now.
No, I agree, and I agree with what you said about the villains. And I'm a comic book fan myself, whether DC or Marvel. But if I had to pick the
Mm,
best villains, it's all in DC.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah, no. And I actually started off being a fan of DC with I have to say it was the Christian Bale Batman movies, and I was like 7
Cool. Yeah.
I went came out.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know
I'm with
what
you there.
Batman was at the time, so I just remember when video stores were still around, and we found a DVD at the store, and I told my dad to get it for me, not knowing what it was.
Mm.
It scared me a little bit, but I was okay at the end.
And
And then,
Heath Ledger's Joker,
yeah,
he's
the
Australian,
best
so
joke.
he's an icon. It's so tough because I watched like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Yeah.
and it is incredible. It is like seriously beautiful. And I don't even think you can compare the two Jokers because they're so different and they're such different films and they're such different stories. But for me, like Heath Ledger still like he takes
But
the
I
cake. You
agree.
know what I
I
mean?
agree.
Yeah.
And from there, my first Superman was actually Brandon Routh in Superman Returns in 2000.
Cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
But if I
Yeah.
had to pick my favorite, I mean, obviously I love Tyler so much. If I pretty much grew up with his era, like a teenager already at the time when he started to be Superman. And then there's
Yeah.
Christopher Reeves and just a whole bunch of other Supermans I met. But Tyler's definitely one of my top favorites for sure.
Tyler's definitely my favorite, and that's not just because I have to say that, but he's definitely, my Superman. So
For sure. Yeah, I
like,
think the DC TV shows were a lot better than a majority of the movies. I'm going to be honest. There were some movies that
yeah,
are okay,
yeah,
but the TV shows are always more successful, and they had a much bigger fandom. The Arrowverse was huge for almost a decade.
massive, yeah, massive.
What was it like to join the DC community after you signed on?
I mean, incredible. Like to be part of something so big, to be part of something that has this massive fan base, and to play a role that like really hadn't really been done on screen to my knowledge very many times. Um, to take this really special comic book character and to get it to put myself into that, and I don't know, it's really special. And I love John Kent. Like I really do. I think he's a really like beautiful character, and he's definitely like a fan favorite, and I can see why. He's like this golden retriever kid with this like real like I don't know, this like deepness to him, and I don't know, he's just really special. And I'm not just saying that because I played him for 3 years.
Oh, and I think I agree with you because when the show first started, we seen John get sidelined a lot when it comes to the superhero action, and only because he doesn't have powers, but in the bizarre world
Mm,
he did. We got to see John take on a bit of the action in season 3, especially after his truck was stolen and he took matters into his
hmm
own hands, only to get punched in the face there. Uh, where where we get to see John take on a bit more action during the final season.
I think we will. I mean, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that, Superman is dead, you know? So I really hope that's not too much. That's pretty obvious, right? We've made that
Obvious
pretty
because they
clear,
said
right?
that in
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
thing.
We've made that pretty clear. And so that's going to mean, the family stepping up in different ways. And John is very much a part of that. He's got a very clear idea of, how he wants to go forward and how he wants to help. And I'm really excited for people to see it because it's very special. It's also a really heartbreaking season. Like you're gonna see this family in the most turmoil you have seen them in to this point. It's a really tough season, but they all step up, and it's I don't know, it's really beautiful. It's a really good send off, I think, to the
Just watching
series.
the trailer, I could always tell that it's gonna be a tearjerker, especially with the
Yeah.
Superman is dead thing. But obviously it looks like they might try to bring him back somehow, based on that the trailer that we see. I know season 3 ended with Lex Luthor discovering that the inverse Superman is revived and strengthened each time he dies. So after that fierce battle between the two characters, especially with Superman, um and I think Superman gets carried into space in the end there, and practically Superman hurls the monster on the moon and pretty much kind of like sacrifices himself in a way there in battle. So obviously with season four, we'll see the Kent family going through a hard time, and I think it looks like that Jordan is gonna go all Superboy and try to go after Lex Luthor and do the superhero stuff himself. And I believe Doomsday is coming as well. Um, what is it about the final season that you're looking forward to the fans seeing?
All of it. Um, I think there's going to be some things that the fans are not going to expect. Um, I think this season was really a culmination, I feel, of all the ideas that they wanted to do over, potentially 3 seasons, kind of shoved into one. And for some reason, it doesn't feel rushed. Um, it it it's going to be really special. I'm trying to like say things without saying things, and
Right.
I
No,
really
I don't
struggle
want to
with
get in
that.
trouble. No.
I really struggle with that. Um, but I'm really excited for people to see the heart of these characters. I'm really excited for you know us to close the chapter. Uh, you know, the writers really wanted to be able to close this story on their own terms, and I'm so glad that we got the season 4 so that we were able to do that. I think if we went out in season 3, it would have been, such a bummer to just close in a way where we weren't ready to finish our story.
Right.
And so season 4 is really like special for the fans because everyone gets to close their story. Everyone gets to sort of, um, these characters have a finish that it feels fulfilling. You know what I mean? It feels like okay, we can say goodbye to this now, and it doesn't feel like, oh, but what happened to, oh, and you know what I mean? I think we're gonna get that closure, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when season three ended, there were talks of whether or not the show was going to get renewed or canceled. They did say canceled, but with the final season, which
Yeah,
makes me so happy knowing that the whole team is going to give it a proper ending because I really
yeah.
hate shows that just cancel with a cliffhanger like that. I'm like,
Me too.
it's
Me
so
too. That
annoying,
sucks.
especially with streaming shows that with especially with really good shows that start on one season, but then
Yeah.
it just ends. I'm like, what?
How can they do
Yeah,
that? How can they do that? You know what
I
I
know
mean?
it's
It's
so
painful.
annoying. It's like there
Mm.
was a show on NBC a while back called Timeless, had a massive fan base, and they actually gave the fans what they wanted by at making it the final episodes into a movie to wrap things up. And I feel like
Whoa,
the majority of shows should do that because they,
that's
especially with the
cool.
massive fan base that they have, only just to
Mm.
drop it and cancel. And I'm like, why? Why does the
Yeah.
services or why do all these networks cancel the really good stuff? Only
I think, I think most of the time it's a money thing, it's a financial thing, but it's also like, come on, guys, you have like fans here that are waiting for closure. Like, give that to them.
right, no, and I'm just really glad that Superman is getting the proper closure
Yeah.
that it deserves. I'm also sad that it's ending because this is like one of the last few Arrowverse shows out, and I
Uh,
actually grew up with the Arrowverse. I was like 14 when the Arrow started, and I'm 26
so
now, so I've
that
been
must be like extra hard for you. Like you've grown up with this show. That's really special.
yeah, it's been really hard. I grew up with these characters, and these characters have inspired me on a daily basis. And I'm gonna get a little personal here. I'm autistic and trans, so to have all these characters that I can personally relate to, it just brings so much joy to my everyday life, especially when
Oh, that makes me so so happy. And I'm really, this season's for you, Asha. This one's for
thank you,
you.
thank you so
Yeah, this
much.
is
I really appreciate that.
but but really like some of the days where like I'm having a tough day on set, or especially in this last season, it was really tough for everyone. I mean, our budget was cut. Um, we shot like 6 days a week, and it was long hours, and it was really tough. And everyone was putting in like so much work, and on the days where it was really tough like that, and I had doubt, and I was like struggling to see how I could get through this. Like I was trying to remind myself that like, hey, we're doing this for those fans that like really need, they've been with these characters for so long, and we're doing it for them. So,
Thank you,
it's
thank
for
you.
you.
Yeah, it's the thing with all these incredible franchises. Like when we mentioned Harry Potter earlier, we mentioned Star Wars. Anytime I go through a really hard time with something, or I just need something to liven up my day, I always put on my favorite movies or my favorite TV shows just to make it through the day. It's like a
Yeah.
therapy for me, but it's also just something that's been a part of me most of my life, or a bit pretty much since I was very young. And with all these superheroes, a lot of these characters I was introduced to when the Arrowverse was going. There was so many
Yeah.
DC characters that I was not familiar with that I am familiar with now, and it's just been an incredible, incredible journey, especially
Yeah.
for fans like me to connect
Oh,
with these
awesome.
characters.
Awesome.
And I know that during season three, I believe it got a little personal for you too, when we got to see Lois Lane battle breast cancer.
Mm.
And I believe when I was doing my research that your mom went through the same thing as well. What was your reaction to when you learned the show was tackling that part of the storyline that you experienced in real life?
It's it was really tough. I'm laughing because sometimes it's how I deal with those emotions. But I remember like getting the role and being like, yes, I got it. I booked this part. I really wanted this. And then reading the script and being like, damn it. Like, this is what we're doing. I thought I got onto the show that's like, there's superpowers and we're gonna be flying around. It's gonna be all this awesome stuff. Um, but I realized the the meat of the season was Lois's battle with cancer, and yeah, my mom had she'd gone through an aggressive uh, breast cancer um, a few years prior. I think I was like, I don't know, I'm so bad with timelines, but I think I was like 15 or something like that. So around the age that John was roughly. Um, and so then reliving that for a season was really really tough. Um, and there was some really like similar components to the storyline in Superman and Lois to my own real life. I have two brothers, and I remember that the scene where Lois tells the boys about the diagnosis and just how similar that felt to um, my mom telling the three of us that she had cancer was like uncanny. It was so similar. We had just like, I remember the three of us, like, we'd gotten back from Bali and like, we'd like gone on this beautiful family trip. And then we got home and we like, sat down in that way and we were like all happy, happy. And then like, she told us the news and it was just like this, finding out that your mom can have this thing. It's so difficult to wrap your head around, especially that age where like everything is all you know um it's just like airy fairy, and then this really real like tough thing hits you in the face, and it's like it's really hard to wrap your head around. And then for that entire season, um I sort of tried to sort of channel a little bit of what I went through with John. And I remember the big thing that when my mom was going through cancer was like, I wanted to know everything. I wanted to understand like what was going on so I could like rationalize it and, like sort of get a hold of it. That's like sort of what I wanted. And John is really similar. Like he wants the answers. Like he's trying to figure out why we can't use this Kryptonian technology. Um, and that really helped because I was like, well, this is exactly how I was. Like I wanted to understand what we could do, how we could best go through this. And so that made it really easy. I really understood um, John's thinking throughout the whole season because I was in a really similar headspace when it happened to my mom. It was really tough, but it was also healing in a way. Um, to sort of like relive that experience. It almost like gave me some more clarity over my own personal situation. So it was like it's pretty beautiful how acting can sometimes do that.
I agree, and I just I'm in the same boat with you. I had cancer in the family as well, and it just
Oh,
have that kind of thing happen. I mean, my dad had went through it. I actually lost my grandfather to cancer.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, and to have that kind of thing, and to see all these characters go through what I was dealing with as well, it's just like so intense as well, and
Mm.
hearing your real life story about the same thing as well, and it's just incredible, really, and I hope everything is going well for you as well, and your mom as
Yeah,
well.
my mum's all well. She's all healed. I should say that. It's probably important to say, right? I
Yeah,
shouldn't
for
say my
sure.
mum had cancer and then not like give clarity on
No,
that
I'm
situation.
so glad
But
she's okay too,
yeah,
and
yeah,
just to have all that to have your personal life resonate with all the characters on the show that you
yeah.
watch, it's just like, oh my gosh, can you relate to these characters anymore? So it's
And
pretty crazy.
yeah. I think it was also like really important that like a show like Superman and Lois where we're taking, these fictional characters, these like above human characters, and we're giving them like really human stakes. I think it makes it like so much more relatable and so like the villain of season 3 to me is like is cancer. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I think it was so powerful for a show like Superman and Lois where, you know, they have these big crazy villains that, are monsters or, whatever. But to choose something so human for Lois to have to go through and the family to have to go through, it's like it was like a battle that I think like Superman found one of the hardest. And then there was something so like human about that. And it makes like these characters like Superman um feel so much closer. You know what I mean? Feel so much more real. And to me, that's where like Superman really becomes Superman is when he can face like a human challenge like that. And Lois, of course, she's a badass superhero as well. But like to me, that's where like this show really shines. Is where it like has those moments where it like really humanizes the story, and I think that's really cool.
It really is, and that's why I love shows like Superman and Lois or anything else that I watch, and they tackle your stories that are similar to yours, and that's like,
Mm,
gosh, they're going
mm,
they're it's like they're directing that at us, even though they probably don't know that we're going through the same thing as well. So
yeah.
season 4 is obviously the last season for the show. What will you miss most about being on a show like Superman and Lois?
Everything, man. It was like the coolest thing ever. Like, um, getting to do those action scenes with the coolest stunt department ever. Uh, Everything, the material, the writing is incredible. I love it. I remember every time reading the script and being like, yes, this is what I want to do. Like, as an actor, like your favorite thing is the material that you get to work with. And so I was just so lucky that I had, two and a bit years with this incredible material. I'm gonna miss John. Um, he's like such a fun role. Um, uh, I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss all my cast. All of it, man. Like all of it. I'm gonna miss the fans. I mean, I'm hoping the fans don't just up and leave all of us. Like I'm sure they'll be around, but like
I'll stay with you guys for sure because that's just Superman. Just like one of my favorite shows, and especially since it's I love Superman. I love these characters, and it's one of the last Arrowverse shows standing. And it's just I have all my favorite ones that I watched, and Superman's just one of those shows that just like had a great impact on me, and
Mm,
just like one of the things I'll miss because I'm like I interact with the cast on social media, especially when I do all the live tweet things on Twitter or X
Yeah.
now. When I watch the show live, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that this season because I don't have cable anymore. So I'll have to watch it the
Uh,
next day and avoid
yeah.
all spoilers if I can.
Yeah.
And one of the things people I interact with the most on Instagram is actually Eric Valdez, and
Oh,
we
cool.
actually chat a lot. So it's like
That's
a
awesome.
true honor to be able to do that and have someone like Eric actually know who you
Eric
are and your story and things like that.
Eric is the best, man. Like I remember in season three, I got to work with him quite a bit because of like the firehouse scenes and John's whole journey with like getting involved in the firehouse. And he is the best, dude. He is like a really
Really incredible.
really,
So nice.
really, really special guy. I don't know if he talks about it, but he went through something really tough a lot season three as well. And I remember just the way that like he was able to like carry himself and also like work and be there for everyone was really beautiful. I don't know. He's a really good guy, and I loved working with him. So that's awesome that you have that little connection.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I just really like putting myself out there and doing all my interviews that I do now. And you are actually like the first interview I've done in so long. It's been a long time thing. And I know with the writer's strike last year that really put a lot of things on hold. And it's just like a really good honor to be able to chat with you before the show starts next week and to be able to discuss the final season and therefore it's just like really incredible.
Oh well, I'm happy we got to do this.
Yeah, me too. And it's just like I was like crossing my fingers that maybe I'll even get a chance to talk with somebody from the show for the final season. And I'm just so
Yeah.
fortunate that one of those people that responded with you, and it was like I'm truly honored that you wanted to do this with me. It's like it means a lot.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited. I'm excited to see who you. I'm sure you'll be able to rope in some of the others to do it as well. I think they'd love to
I hope so
talk
too.
to you.
I got lucky with
Yeah.
quite a few people during the show's run, so I'm like pretty fortunate with that, and I'll be able to tag you on the post on social media on the Instagram and stuff once I get everything published and things like that.
Cool.
So we'll be able to connect on there from, and I think I'll send everything over on the email as well, just in case.
Cool. All right. Awesome.
Yeah, and I just got a couple more questions to go from there, and we'll wrap
Let's do
up
it.
for the day. Um, so was there anyone you mentioned working with Eric on the show, and was there anyone else on the show that you wanted to work with but you didn't really work with as much?
Wale, uh, he's incredible. I remember watching him in one of the very first scenes that I did. I think it was yeah, it was John and Jordan's 16th birthday party. Um, at the Kent family at the barn actually. I think it was outside the barn, or maybe it was at the house. Yeah, it was at the
Oh
house.
yeah, it was like in the barn actually. They had
Yeah,
a party set up in there.
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. But I remember. I think it was that scene. There was a scene between Wale and Dylan, and I remember. First of all, I love Dylan. I love working with Dylan. He's an incredible actor, and he's a great guy as well. But I remember watching the scene between the two of them, and like just seeing like Wale's presence was like really incredible, and I like really like I loved watching him on screen because he does something really special, and he's I think he's gonna be something big because he does some really special stuff on screen, and everyone I worked with is like incredible on screen, and I was so lucky that I got to work with these incredible actors and actresses. Elizabeth Bitsy is like she's a superstar. She's like a badass Lois. She's my Lois. She was awesome. I loved working with her. I loved working with Tyler. I loved working with Alex. I loved working with everyone. I wish I got to work with Wale more because like to do a scene with him would be cool.
And it's so crazy because I actually just I did a rewatch of Yellowstone, which is a show that Wally had a guest role thing going on in there for.
That's
That's
right.
right. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
watch the
yeah.
show. I'm like, think I remember this. Like the same thing with another actor on the show that was
It
like, uh,
isn't it funny? Isn't it funny when you like are really into one show at a certain time and there's like a character from there and then like randomly you see a different show and you see them in it and you're like, what? You were in?
yeah, I
I don't
know. It
know.
was
There's
the
something.
same thing during season two with Ian Bohen, who was Anderson, like
Oh
the
yeah,
recurring character on the show. And I watched it also, and I know this show. And when
yeah,
he came on, I didn't even recognize him on the show because he was like clean shaven and he had shorter hair and everything. And once I found out who he was, I'm like, no way, no way.
yeah.
I couldn't
It's
believe that
awesome.
either. And it was about the same time too that I obviously knew who Dylan was as well because I watched him in some other stuff too. And it's about the same time right after season two that I started to watch one of Tyler's other show and Ian's show, Teen Wolf, and that was
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh that was like the one of the greatest shows I ever watched too. And I'm
That's
gonna start
awesome.
watching Grimm as well, which is another show that
Yep.
he did. And it's so
Hmm.
crazy because I actually think Bissy was here in Minneapolis one time for another convention. And it was long before I
Mm.
knew who she was too, but I think it was the Grimm thing as well.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
I
You
knew
know,
was back then I
her
would have met her.
yeah, her husband, who I haven't seen Grimm, but he's the main guy in Grimm, Bitsy's husband, and he actually directs episode 3 of Superman and Lois season 4. So that's a really little fun thing that we got to do as well for this season.
That's very cool. I got a lot to look to start watching too, and I know that Grimm is one of the shows on my list, so I gotta
I've
get
heard it's a good one.
I heard
Yeah,
him.
I gotta do that too. I gotta watch that one as well.
Yeah, for sure. And the same thing with Teen Wolf. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's so
But
fun.
yeah, it's just a pretty good thing to know that when you watch all these other people on on the show like Superman and then find out all these other things they did. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
a couple more questions here. During your time on the show, what was your favorite scene or episode to film?
Ooh, favorite scene or episode? You know, I definitely have some favorites that are coming out in this season. I don't want to talk about them because then I'll spoil things and then
No
that'll
spoilers
ruin
here.
that. So I think I'll opt to choose my favorite from season 3. My favorite scene to shoot from season 3. You know, there's actually this one really fun shot that I loved shooting so much. It's the scene that we were talking about how John runs in and to steal his truck back, right?
Yep.
And Jordan and Natalie are like fighting off the guys so that John can, you know, get the truck and get out of there. And there's just this one scene where like John's driving the truck down the road, and I remember that a lot of the time we had like these like fake setups where like the we'd like tow the truck so it looks like I was driving, but I actually wasn't. But this time, I actually was driving the truck, and it was just on a road. And uh, I I remember that I just got to like sort of like floor it for about 5 seconds, and then I had to just take my foot off the brake and then slowly come to a brake. And that was like the instructions by the stunt crew. And all I had to do was like sort of drive and be like, "Wow, yeah," you know what I mean? And I just remember like doing that like 10 times over. It was just so much fun. Like we had this whole crew like just watching me drive, and everyone's like, you know, terrified, like, oh, what if he messes up? What if he messes up? I don't know, just getting to do something like really fun like that. Like that was pretty
I
cool.
never would have
Um
guessed that you did that thing on your own. So
yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure that it was within like filming rights. Like I don't think we broke any laws to do that. So I think we're good. Um, I also like there was some really like beautiful scenes. I loved filming with uh you know, some of those really tougher scenes. Especially the one where he confronts Lois. Well, Jordan and John confront Lois about uh the her writing the will. Um uh and just trying to get answers. I think it was episode 7 of season 3. Um I loved some of those scenes there because they were, you know, the tougher ones. and we really get to see like uh John trying to find some answers. And I love when John's like really actionable and like trying to take things into his own hands. I think we get to really see a fun John when those sort of things happen. Um, yeah, and then like some of the really like beautiful scenes with Candace in season three, I loved them. Um, I don't know, I love all of it, dude. I love all of it.
There's just so many great movie moments to shoot to just to choose from. So I'm like, I don't blame you for not being able to pick just one thing that
Yeah.
out of everything that you did.
I'm so sorry. Wait, I just gotta stop myself. I called you dude. What would you like me to call you?
Oh, I'm a he him, so don't. You're good.
Right.
You're good.
Good. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I should have asked that.
No, you're
Uh,
totally good.
I'm like so terrible with that. I'm trying to get really better. So, I apologize. My apologies if I
Don't
did
worry
offend you.
about it.
All right.
You're actually not the only one that's still working on that with me, so you're all good there.
Okay, awesome.
So yeah, if you could be a hero or a villain in like any of the superhero project type thing, who would you be or why?
Mm. I'd love to do a villain, first of all. Like I think that would be like so fun. I think the villains like get the best material. You know what I mean? Like villains have the most fun a lot of the time. So I think like I'd love to play like I don't know. I was trying to do like a deep dive into some of like the smaller DC villains that we don't get to see as often. And I was trying to like explore if there was any of them that I'd like really be interested in. I couldn't really find anything, but like I mean like obviously playing the Joker would be so fun. I mean it's been done a lot, but it would be so fun. Lex Luthor would be so fun. Um, and then playing Batman, like
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
yeah,
Like
that would.
that'd be pretty badass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got quite a few Batmans from those, and we actually had a pretty good run of them. But it would be really cool to be able to see another one go on. Uh,
Hmm.
they're talking about making another Batman 2 thing with the Robert Pattinson movie
Oh,
thing.
cool. That's
But I'm
cool.
actually looking forward to another Batman type thing, and I
I
know that
wonder if we're gonna. I wonder if we're gonna see a Batman in the new James Gunn
that would
Superman
be
project.
cool though, and that actually looks like it's gonna be pretty good. It's
Yeah.
a crazy thing too because it's like at the end of the movie Black Adam with The Rock last year, they actually teased that Henry Cavill was actually gonna come back and do another Superman thing.
Oh,
Then
right.
a week later, they announced this whole thing to do the reboot, and James Gunn is taking over. And
Oh, I think I remember that. Yeah.
and
Yeah. I think I remember that.
surprisingly, it's actually going to look like it's going to be pretty good. Because if I
Yeah.
know anything about James Gunn, he actually knows what he's doing. So it's a good
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's gonna be a really cool thing. I'm really excited to see what happens with it.
And I like the fact that he actually involved the great Christopher Reeve's kids in the movie. And I think one of his
Oh,
sons had a cameo in the movie. And I actually just
cool.
watched the documentary about Chris Reeve about last week or so. It's like one of the most incredible movies out there when they talk about his impact at the Superman role and what his life was like after his accident and things like that. So I
That's
really
cool.
like some of the things that James Gunn is actually doing now. I believe one of his decisions is actually it might have been one of the reasons that Superman and Lois was impacted. But I really hope that going down the road that he actually does do some good things for DC because I know like a lot of the movies didn't do as well, and some of them were maybe not as good. But I actually really like some of the DC entertainment movies thing, like the Snyder Cut of Justice League or Man of Steel, the first two Aquamans and the first Wonder Woman. Those were good. But if I had to pick anything for DC wise, a lot of the TV shows were like 10 times better than the movies. So
Yeah. No, I think I agree with you as well. But I am really excited to see what this new DC world is because like, as you said, it's like the end of the Arrowverse. It's the end of that chapter, and hopefully, like this new chapter is going to be something really special as well. And I really think it's going to be. I'm just like waiting for James Gunn to call me up and
yeah,
like give me a role. Like, where's my chance? You know what I mean?
no, I get that too. So I'm like, if I mean, obviously James is gonna do good things now that he's the head of DC Entertainment things there. So And he knows what he's doing. I mean, he did a really good job
Oh
with
yeah,
the Galaxy movie. He did the Scooby Doo movies. He's like one of the biggest nerds that I've probably seen on social media. So I
and
really appreciate.
it's definitely important to have a really big nerd behind this
That.
thing.
He
You
did
know
a
what I
really
mean?
good
Like
job
that's
with the
important.
Suicide Squad movie too. So that was like really good too.
Yeah, very cool.
So the two more questions here. Who is your favorite DC comic book character in either a film or TV or comic book lore?
Ooh, favorite DC comic book character. Like I think I have to say John Kent. Like I think like and honestly, maybe it's because I know the most about him. Like I've learned a lot about him over the season and I mean over the seasons and like obviously I looked into some of the comics and he's so awesome in the comics.
He
Like
really is, and
he's
I agree too.
yeah,
And like he has some pretty good
he's
things
a
going with him in one of the current some of the current stuff that they were doing for the comic books too. So
yeah. No, I think he's a really cool character. I mean, there's something so like so special about being able to tell the story of like the son of Superman and what that is. You know what I mean? Like to live under the footsteps of, you know, this guy who's like worshipped as a god, you know, by a lot of people. You know, Superman. You know, what's it like to try and like fill those shoes? What's it like to be his son, you know, and Lois Lane's son, you know, there's something like really like there's a lot to live up to, and what does that mean for a kid? And I think that's really special, and I think John and Jordan in our show get to sort of like both go through that together, and it's I don't know, it's a really fun storyline, and so I think John Kent is my favorite comic book,
I
is my
like
favorite
that because
DC comic
I
character.
know that your version of the character and the comic book version of the character is actually like two very different people, but I like all the things that they
Yeah.
done for the character, and I know that in the comic book storyline that they're doing with right now, I think they actually made John Ken like a part of the LGBT community as well. So that's like
Oh,
really great impact on all the fans and those in the community. So I really like that part a lot.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
And my last question for you is at this time now that you're not doing the show at the Superman and Lois are you working on anything new at this time?
Nothing, man. I mean, like I'm always working on things. I love writing. I love I love writing films. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. Uh, I mean, kind of chilling. Like if I'm being honest, like the two seasons was pretty full on for me. Like I came from, you know, a really you know, I was just, you know, back in my hometown chilling. And so to, you know, go over there and do this really big thing, I'm taking some downtime, spending time with my girlfriend, spending time with my family, um, and writing. I'm really excited to like try and um, push forward with some of my writing projects and try to make some things happen. Trying to figure out and navigate that world. It's really tough. And then, you know, auditioning. I'm auditioning for lots of things, and hopefully, one of them lands soon. Um, but that's the tale of all actors. You know, we ebb and we flow, and I just gotta wait for the right thing. So that's where I'm at right now.
And I hope everything turns out really good for you. And I wish you the best of luck of what you're going to do now in your future. And I really appreciate the time that you took here today to be able to chat with me. It was just an incredible honor. And I had a whole heck of a lot of fun just talking to you.
Oh, me too. I really enjoyed talking to you too.
No,
We should do this again.
yeah, I like that a lot. And hopefully, maybe at the end of season 4, we'll probably be able to touch base again or something.
Let's do it. Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
an honor to talk to you, Michael, and I'll let you know when everything's posted. I'll send you an email and tag you on social media as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem, Michael. I hope you have a very excuse me. Oh my gosh, very good here. Have an incredible night, and we'll touch base at another time.
You too. All right. See
uh,
ya.
have a good one.
Bye.